Welcome to Secrets to Alignment with Savannah Schaffer. I am here to equip you with the belief and energy to make your dreams a reality. Take this time to fill your cup and align with the most vibrant version of you.
Welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaffer. Thank you so much for being here. This episode has been highly requested after the last episode that I made about this similar topic went absolutely crazy. I ended up having so many views. I think it was over 30,000 views on one of my podcasts all about how to stop being so sensitive. And after I created that one, I had many of you guys DM me reaching out to talk more about this topic. This episode is for you if you're wanting to feel into more calmness, more peace, to let things just kind of like slide right off your shoulders and not get so stuck in your head, not be over analyzing, overthinking. I know that I have definitely been there, and these are the things that have truly helped me the absolute most. I'm going to be giving a book recommendation. I'll go through tons of different tips, and then also we're just going to do a little bit of a reality check because we're floating on a rock in fucking space, man, okay? It's okay to just let go of some of these things that are not energetically ours. And so we're gonna get into all of this right now. And I feel like one of the biggest things that I realized after working with so many women is that we tend to take things so personally. And I have absolutely been there myself. I have definitely been a victim of this because, we're women and we tend to think that we are the problem, that we are the ones that have done something wrong. Or we also tend to kind of freak the fuck out anytime that something is not going the way that we thought that it was going to go. So again, if you are looking for more peace, more calmness, this is an episode that's really going to support you and it's going to help you become that more elevated version of you who's light, who's airy, who isn't bogged down by all of the things around us. So if you are currently getting irritated over the smallest things, you are thinking that everything is about you, you start to freak out anytime that the plans get changed, or you're someone who's going off on like the people that you love most and you want to stop doing that. Maybe you're having those quote unquote mental breakdowns every single week about all of the shit that's going wrong in your life. Whatever you have going on, this is truly going to support you. And I think that allowing yourself to stop taking things so seriously and stop taking things so personally, stop being so sensitive, I'm telling you guys, as someone who has been through this, it makes a huge difference. My husband, he's not really my husband yet, but he's my husband. I don't have a ring on my finger, but that man is my husband. He and we were always talking about this because I came into our relationship. I grew up in a family, honestly, where we all took things very personally and we all got really, really sensitive and we all went off on each other and we were all super sad and we were always just making everything about us. And when I started dating my husband, he is a fireman. He's actually testing for captain right now. Once you guys are listening to this, he is already tested for captain and he's already fucking crushed it. I know it. But he's a fireman. He doesn't take things personally. He's not like that at all. Like you could say anything to him and he doesn't take things personally. And when we started dating, I realized that I took everything very fucking personally. He would say something a specific way and then I would be sitting there thinking, what did I do wrong? Like how can I fix what I did or whatever? And I would just think it's all about me. And the reality is it's fucking not. A lot of the times there are situations happening in our life. Let's say you're talking to a guy and he's not responding as quickly as you would like him to. Okay, and you're sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, he must not be into me. He doesn't care about me. He's this, he's that. When really he's just fucking busy living his life and he's not someone who's stuck to his phone 24/7. Maybe you have a friend that hasn't been talking to you recently and you're like, I don't know why she's being so weird towards me. That is a perfect example. Okay, that friend, maybe she's actually fucking going through something. Like maybe she's dealing with something that's really affecting her in a deep way. Maybe the reason why your social media isn't going crazy or the reason why you're your business isn't expanding the way that you would like it to expand. Maybe it's not something personal. Maybe it's something that is just happening outside of you that you cannot control. And honestly, when you let go of that energetic like tie to things, you are able to feel into so much more peace because you're not making it about yourself, and you can choose in that moment to let it go. First and foremost, no amount of anger and frustration and anxiety is ever going to change the situation that is happening, okay? If you are starting to notice yourself getting caught up in those emotions of anger and frustration and anxiety, and you're upset and you're pissed and you're sad and whatever, that actually doesn't change what's going to happen. And in those moments when you start to feel those emotions, you can consciously, I know that it's really, really hard, but you can actually consciously choose to let it go. And this is something that you can just simply say to yourself. At this point where I'm at right now, after doing this so many times, I can now just say, I choose to let this go. I choose to relax. I choose to surrender. I choose to not make this about me. And I really can like take that on. But in the past, what I needed to do was slow things down and start to actually dissect, okay, what is coming up here? What am I actually freaking the fuck out about? Like, what is really worth my time addressing here, and what is just nonsense that I'm making about me when it has nothing to do with me, or what am I assuming is about me when it has nothing to do with me? And this is just a little inquiry process that you can do, whether you journal it out or you just simply sit there and you type it up in your phone. You're asking yourself, okay, why do I keep thinking about this specific situation that's going on in my life? Why does it keep coming up for me? Okay, the reason it keeps coming up for me is because I'm worried that they're going to think that I'm like this, that I'm too clean, or that I'm too insecure, or that I'm not professional, or whatever that it might be. So you're following down that little like rabbit trail. You're going down the rabbit trail to see what's actually coming up for you. What's important for you to address? What do you need to actually look at to get to that root to see, okay, this is actually what's bothering me. Okay, so I'm worried that their perception of me is going to be something that it's not actually. That's not going to be the reality of who I am. Okay, so you're actually worried about the way that you're being perceived. So how can you show up in the best light possible in this situation? If you choose to show up in the best light possible in that situation, it's probably not going to be from the place of anger, frustration, anxiety, all of the craziness that you're going through. You showing up in the best way possible is probably going to be you coming from a grounded, emotional place within yourself, and then you're able to completely shift the way that you're showing up in that situation. And likely when you shift your energy internally, when you shift your nervous system, when you actually get yourself into alignment and you are like taking deep breaths, you're slowing things down, you're watching your tone, you're paying attention to the way that you are maintaining eye contact or the way that you're responding through text. When you start to get really intentional about those things, the person on the other side, they actually feel that. They feel that energy shift, whether it's conscious or unconscious. We are constantly picking up on the smallest of things. You know, when someone texts you, they text you with a period or they text you without a period, and you're instantly thinking, oh my gosh, what are they upset about? What's going on? That little tiny, a little fucking dot on your screen, that is changing the way that you're now responding to them. So when you take the time to actually show up with intention, to let go of that tenseness and decide, you know what? I don't even think that this is about me. And I didn't do anything wrong here. And I don't need to fucking freak out. And you really like take a step back, that person will feel that disconnect energetically, and it makes them show up more likely in the way that you are wanting, or they show up in their true colors and they're still caught up in the emotion and they're still doing the thing that they're doing. And then you have a place of clarity. You're now coming from like a higher level. You're coming from you're seeing it from like a bird's eye view because you're calm, because you're regulated, and because you're not making it about you now. So that is going to support you big time. Just realizing that you don't need to stir up in those emotions. You don't need to overthink this. And if you do want to go down the rabbit trail, perfectly fine. Take out a fucking piece of paper or take out your phone and start typing out, why is this upsetting me? And ask yourself why until you get to that one, like, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel that one answer, the ding, 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 ding answer where you're like, oh shit, this is actually what I'm most worried about. Like, what are you actually worried about is going to happen if that person does X, Y, and Z, or if that person sees you in X, Y, and Z way or whatever. It can come down to even the smaller things of someone taking your order and they're not being the most kind. And you're sitting there thinking, oh shit, like, did I do something? Or like, did I say something? Or whatever. Instead, that's not yours. They're having their own day. Like when you're at the DMV and someone's not being kind to you, okay, they're having their own day. You don't need to take on that energy as yours and you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to do anything on your end. You can just allow them to be in the emotional place that they are in. And I think that honestly, you take back so much power by doing that, by deciding, you know what, I'm just going to separate myself from this. I'm just going to choose not to go down that place, that energetic spiral. I'm going to choose not to do that because I am in a place over here where I was feeling really, really good before I walked into this DMV, before I walked into the coffee shop, or before I came into contact with this person. So I'm going to choose to let go. I'm choosing to let go. And this is something, again, that we have the power to do, okay? There's a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And I read this book and I was just absolutely amazed at the way that he breaks down how we almost attach ourselves to absolutely everything external to us. And I promise you that once you start to read that book, you will start to have a higher level of understanding of, wow, I've been running my life on autopilot. We've been just kind of attaching to things energetically all the time, and we can disconnect that. We have the power to disconnect it. It takes practice, but literally, like I said, you deciding, okay, I'm simply not going to do that. I'm not going to make this about me. This has nothing to do with me. This is about them. This is about what they are going through. And you can separate yourself from the situation. It makes such a huge difference. And then you're now in this happy place. You're now in living your life presently instead of being so tied up in your mind and all of this shit that's going on internally. Being completely real with you, your life is so much harder when you're going around being mopey, you're grumpy, you're upset, you're frustrated, you're irritated. Honestly, life is not nearly as much fun, okay? When you are constantly in that low vibe frequency, first of all, no one wants to be around that kind of energy. Like, that is not energy that people are like, oh yeah, I can't wait to go hang out with that person who's always fucking negative and takes everything super, super personally. No, and especially if you're dating, no. Men do not want that. They do not enjoy that. And your girlfriends, they might feel similarly to you, but what if you chose to come to this conversation or this meetup with whoever you're hanging out with positivity and like happiness and gratitude? You know how much more of a quality conversation you're gonna have rather than just sitting there and like complaining about your life and giving all of the tea that isn't actually the reality but is what you're assuming. There is such a huge difference when you decide to take that power back. If you're sitting there and you're saying things like, this always happens to me, of course they would treat me this way because that's the way I always get treated. Or you're saying something like, that's just my luck. Every single time that you reinforce those things, you actually are creating more of it. And this is the science behind that. So we have this magical filter in our brain called the reticular activating system. You've probably heard me talk about this. The RAS. The RAS is what filters our reality. So if you are continuously saying these things over and over and over again, and you are highlighting, you're almost like if you were to read a book about your life and then you started to highlight all of the parts of your life that are negative, all of the parts of your life that you feel like all of these situations are happening because of you, and you're just really, really honing in on all of the things that are going wrong in your life, you are going to now see those things much brighter than the things that are actually going right in your life. So the highlight is now going to be on all of the shit that's going wrong, and the low light, if you want to call it, is going to be on all the things that are going right. So no matter how good your life is getting, the things that are going wrong are always going to outweigh that. And that is something that, like, honestly, it leads you to a place of feeling so unhappy, so unfulfilled, and as if you have no control in your life. And that's the last thing that I want for you. I want you to feel like, oh my gosh, I can literally create the life that I've always wanted just by the way that I'm showing up. And when you start to highlight those things in your life that are actually going right, you start to recognize that those other things that are going wrong are actually so fucking small and minuscule and not even worth your time or energy. And that's really the place that I want you to get to. I want you to realize that, like, again, you have the power and you do not have to allow these things that are going on external to you to freak you the fuck out. What if you decided to show up in a place where you trusted that what was happening to you was meant for you? Anytime that someone rejected you, you knew, you know what? I know that they're just leading me to my next person. Every single time that a friend screwed you over or stabbed you in the back, instead of you like harping over it for years and months and all of the things, instead of that, you decided to let go of it and say, you know what? I know that this is the universe actually just making space for more of what's meant for me. If you decide to shift your narrative to all of these things that are happening to me are actually happening for me, that is where you start to get into the most juicy, amazing miracle of a life, okay? That little shift makes such a huge difference. And it actually reprograms your RAS. It reprograms your reticular activating system to see things in that way. So now when things happen to you, you don't go down that spiral. I'm going to give you guys an example, a real life example where I think anyone else would have freaked out, and this is what happened. So back in 2019, I was 18 years old. I was there with my older brother. And on the second night, him and I were leaving the arena to go home. As we're leaving, he gets into this car accident where we're going straight down the street. All of a sudden, this car turns out in front of us and makes a U-turn, and then we smashed right into them. So when that moment happened, I remember we spun out, we ended up like going off on the side of the road or whatever. The car stopped. We get out of the car. And this is the exact same month or so that I started learning about all of this that I'm sharing with you, okay? All of this about the reticular activating system, about how things are happening for you, about how you can shift your mental space to know that things are happening for you. As soon as we got into that accident, I told myself, this is happening for me. I remember sitting on the curb on the side of the street saying, somehow, some way, I'm going to choose to see this as this happening for me. And the things that occurred after that, I never could have actually imagined. So, like you may know if you've been in a car accident, when you get into a car accident, I was the passenger, so I got a payout for that car accident. But that payout didn't come for a really, really long time. And I remember throughout that time period, I had to go to the chiropractor. I had to get like all these adjustments made. I had to do physical therapy. I had to do all these like things that took time out of my day, out of my work day to go get these treatments done. And honestly, while I was in it, I remember being like so annoyed because I was just like, I want to sit down and work. I don't want to be at this fucking chiropractor place at the middle of the day and like whatever. But I kept choosing to reframe all of those moments as it's fine, it's going to pay off. Now, what ended up occurring is during this time period, so 2019 to 2020, we got in a car accident on, I think it was like November 2nd of 2019. In 2020, that's when my business actually started to, wait. Yes. Okay. So in 2020, my business started to take off. I started making all this money and it was amazing. It was like the best year of my career at that point in time. 2021 comes and all of a sudden my business just starts to plateau. So the money that I was making, I just continued to make it. It wasn't going up. And then slowly it started declining as we got further into 2021, 2022. Now, I ended up receiving this check for this car accident that I was in 2019. I got the check in 2021. And at that time, my business was completely like, it was stagnant, but it was also starting to drop. Like it was getting a little bit scary for me because I was like, I don't know why what I'm doing, what I have been doing all of this time is not working. I'm working still 8 to 10 hour days and I don't know why, but like my business is not growing the way that it was. I remember just going through like a full on internal breakdown. Okay. I ended up getting that check. It was May of 2021 and I got the check and it was $15,000. And that $15,000, first I took $5,000 of it and I invested it into the stock market. That investment of $5,000 is now at $11,000 in the stock market today, which is super fucking cool. And I'm super grateful that that 18-year-old, 19-year-old me decided to do that, 20-year-old me at that time. I'm really, really grateful that I decided to do that. But also the money that I got from that check, I literally had to pull every single month like $1,000 to live off of because my business was not doing well. So the only reason why I got to live out of my parents' house for all of that time was because I got that check. And if I didn't get that check, I wouldn't have gone through one of the biggest, most essential growth periods of my entire life. I wouldn't have gone to the gym that I was going to. I wouldn't have met Tyler. I wouldn't have, got pregnant. I wouldn't be here where I'm at right now. I would not be recording this podcast, I don't even think. Especially, I wouldn't be able to tell the story because that wouldn't have happened. So if that car accident did not happen, all of these things would not have been possible. And it's just really, really crazy. Like when you start to shift your mindset into these things are happening for me, no matter how fucking tragic, how annoying, how irritating, whatever, it like literally stopped my life for a time period where I had to spend all this time outside of work to go do other shit and take care of myself, which was essential. But, I didn't want to do that because I wanted to be making more money, especially because my business wasn't doing well. It was a whole thing. I decided though that this is the way that I'm going to start living my life. Once I started learning about this stuff, I was like, all right, everyone's saying that this is the way to be happier, to be more fulfilled, be more stress-free, all of those things. I'm going to give this a try. And I did. And this is the results that have come from it. So much has come out of deciding to change my mindset and stop taking things so fucking personally as, oh no, this happened to me. I'm fucking crying about it. Like, no, I don't fucking do that shit anymore. I do not play the victim. Instead, I decide like I am the victor here and these things are happening in my favor. And when I decide to make that shift, you change your experience completely and you start to recognize the things that are actually working out for you. Like, what if the situation that you're currently in has absolutely nothing to do with you? If you really want to stop this, I want you to start asking yourself, is this really worth my energy? Is this actually about me? Or am I assuming it's about me? Do I need to spiral over this? Do I need to allow this to affect me? And once you start to ask these questions more intentionally and more frequently, you are going to start to realize that you actually can call back so much more of your power. And again, if you need to reflect on it, if it's something that is actually bothering you, that's perfectly fine. I'm not saying don't let anything bother you. But if it is bothering you, allow yourself to process it. Instead of distracting yourself, instead of like just jumping into the next project, give yourself the time and space that you need to process what you're going through. Ask yourself, why is this really bothering me? How can I support myself through this? What is the root of all of this? What is really getting to me? And then work from that place, because then you can actually give yourself what you're needing in that moment. If it really comes down to, you know what, I'm just being a little insecure. Okay, great. Glad you found that out. Now go look up a video of how to stop being so insecure. Like, those are just little things you can do. Also, if that's something that you guys want to hear from me, let me know, because I would say that I'm pretty secure in myself. It's taken me time to get there. And a lot of fucking shit. But it's built the person I am today. So if you ever want me to film a podcast on that, please let me know. I'm always down. If you guys ever have podcasts like questions or recommendations, or like, hey, I'd really love to know how you do this, let me know. Because girl, I got you. I would love to do that. When you stop allowing all of these things external to you to affect you, you really come to a place where you are so much lighter, you are so much happier, you're so much more calm, you're so much more funny, you're more creative, you're more stable in yourself, and people love being around that energy. People love being around people who feel really stable in themselves, and they're not, just blowing with the wind and getting knocked over every single time that like a hard gust comes through. When you do this, you can really like plant yourself like a really strong tree, and no matter what kind of storm is coming through, you can decide that you're going to stay there, you're going to stand up strong and stable, and you're not going to allow these things to affect you. And again, that like really creates like a very magnetic energy, because not most people are not like that. Most people are very reactive. We are very, we're making everything about us. So if you decide to do this shift, if you decide to actually put what I'm telling you into action, you will notice that they're going to start coming to you for advice. They're going to be like, how that just happened to you and you're not going to like freak the fuck out? Like, that's so amazing. And it really truly is. Like, living your life this way is so much better, so much more calm, so much more peaceful, so much more enjoyable. Like, life is so much more enjoyable because there's honestly so many beautiful things, amazing things happening all around us all the time. And when you're not stuck in your head, you can actually enjoy what's happening right in front of you. just start checking in, asking those little questions to yourself. Where is this emotion coming from? How can I support myself through this? And if you guys have more questions on this specific topic, please reach out, send me a message. I've got your back. I love, love, love creating podcasts like this. I'm so happy that you guys liked the last one. And if there's anything that I can do for you, just send me a message. Life is so much better when you are lighter. You got this. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so, so much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.